It's never fun to talk about injuries, but it is almost the most important thing to be looking into when we are submitting our starting lineups, because obviously, it doesn't just impact the players that are actually injured, but it also impacts the other options in their respective offense, how we can expect particular touches to go, and how we should be submitting our lineups overall. So yeah, let's get into this. And as I pull this up, make sure drop a like on this video / stream if you have not done so already. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. I will be live streaming tonight answering all your questions. I'll be live streaming at the crack of dawn tomorrow morning answering all your questions. I'll be streaming during the games and throwing a fantasy football watch party. So make sure you participate in that. But let's go ahead and let's pull up our first update. We are going to be looking at JSN, no limitations. Now, with Jackson Smith-Njigba, a player that I love, a player that I actually got to interview on the NFL red carpet at the draft. And yeah, I'll definitely be rooting for him. And for him to be on the field week 1, it's going to be great for his long-term development. But at the same time, this isn't necessarily a spot where we can say, okay, now all of a sudden you need to get him in your starting lineup. No, similar to what we were saying with pretty much all rookies outside of Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs, of course, you want to see the production on the field before you believe in them and before you put them into their starting lineup. Now, of course, with that being said, at the end of the day, you can still have high hopes. We can still roster these players for their long-term outlook. It's great for his long-term outlook that he's getting on the field and playing early. And it also does negatively impact DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, which is why both those players did go through and fall a little bit in our weekly rankings. But yeah, don't start JSN, but definitely excited to see him back. And now going over to our next guy, we are going to be looking at John Mechie. John Mechie is not going to play. I don't want to be looking at any of the Houston Texans wide receivers, but this does give a bump up to Dalton Schultz, where it is a very tough matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, but Schultz should see a ton of volume. Now, Zach Ertz is going to be questionable. Now, with Zach Ertz, you don't start him regardless. And I want to go through and I want to just say, none of the Arizona Cardinals players outside of maybe James Conner in situations where you're a little bit desperate are startable. Look at this. Hollywood Brown also still questionable with the hamstring. So if we look at an offense that is led by Joshua Dobbs, we look at the fact that they are going to be missing potentially Hollywood Brown, potentially Zach Ertz. This should be the worst offense in the NFL. Not even close. If these guys miss, you don't look at anybody else, maybe James Conner. Now, Wan'Dale Robinson is going to be doubtful against the Cowboys. This is something that's going to be worthwhile if you are wanting to start Darren Waller, if he is good to go, which we'll talk about in just 1 second. Now, Romeo Doubs did practice on Friday. Obviously, we already know the news with Christian Watson. I just want to say that with Romeo Doubs practicing, this is a player that still has the questionable hamstring. Even if he does play, I do not want him in our starting lineup. And remember, wide receiver targets are earned, not given. You can play a backup running back when there's someone that gets injured in front of them, but you don't want to be playing these backup wide receivers just because the wide receiver one in their offense is down. That's what we talked about with Travis Kelce going down when we were looking at Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney earlier on the week, saying you can't play those guys. Similar situation in Green Bay. Doesn't matter. Do not be playing Romeo Doubs or Jaden Reed. Now, going over to New England, Ramondre Stevenson is officially questionable for the Eagles. But, he just missed practice on Friday. He's just dealing with an illness. I'm assuming Ramondre Stevenson's going to go out there. He'll take some Dayquil. He'll battle through it. He should be good to go on Sunday. If he is, we are going to be starting him. And Jerry Jeudy practiced all week. Jerry Jeudy is still questionable, however, against the game against the Raiders. And because this should be a very bad passing offense overall, and because with Jerry Jeudy, this hamstring injury is so recent, I'm almost going to be treating Jerry Jeudy as if he would be a rookie wide receiver, where I'm not going to be believing it until we actually see it, and I'm not going to start him until we actually see him on the field and what his role looks like. Now, I will say, with Jerry Jeudy playing, this makes Courtland Sutton not viable, because obviously Jeudy coming in will take targets from Sutton. And now Zach Moss has officially been ruled out for week 1, and now this only leaves Deion Jackson and Evan Hull in the Indianapolis Colts backfield. Y'all know up until this point, I've been saying that I'm very wary of going out there and starting Deion Jackson. But now with no Moss, this backfield's been thinned out even more, where if you wanted to start Deion Jackson, go ahead, even if I would be a little wary of it. But let's go over and let's pull up our next reports. And as I do this, Of course, make sure you drop that like, subscribe, and if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, it is not too late. And Underdog freaking hooked y'all up. Y'all know everybody pretty much already got to take advantage of a free pick'em line. Patrick Mahomes, more than less than half a passing yard on Thursday night. But Underdog hooked everybody up Sunday night. Saquon Barkley, more than less than half a total yard against the Dallas Cowboys. That's a site-wide special that should be live for everybody right now. And also, if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, you're going to be getting an exclusive pick'em special. Josh Allen, more than less than half a passing yard Monday night against the New York Jets. And on top of this, if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, you're going to get an additional mystery special pick'em. I've never seen Underdog have 2 special pick'ems the same week, and now we have 3. Make sure you're taking advantage of that ASAP, ladies and gentlemen. Promo code FLOCK is going to give you all 3 of those, plus a dollar-for-dollar deposit match up to $100. Our 2023 rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And also, if you use promo code FLOCK, get yourself qualified some exclusive Flock merch as our giveaway. But let's go ahead and let's pull up our next reports here, ladies and gentlemen. Still have a lot to go through. Now, our next one's going to be going over to Denver, similar to what we are looking at with what we had with Jerry Jeudy coming back in. Initially, on Friday, we were hearing that Javonte Williams is going to get a full workload. Javonte Williams is going to be good. Now, you have Sean Payton coming out saying that he's going to be on a snap count. So, going back to what we were saying at the beginning of the week, I still don't want to start Javonte until we actually see it. I feel like we got the head fake here from Sean Payton, where on Friday he was saying, yeah, he's going to be good to go. Don't worry about it. Full workload. And now we're getting a snap count report. It's a horrendous offense. Unless you're guaranteed to get volume here, you go ahead, you bench the player. Don't start any running back in Denver. Looks like it's going to be a 3-man running back by committee potentially. Now, going over to Darren Waller. We had the report yesterday morning saying that Darren Waller was questionable with the hamstring. And of course, that's scary. I mean, we know Darren Waller's history. This is why we labeled Darren Waller as a sell high guy going into the season, saying to go through and sell him for TJ Hawkinson. I hope that you listened, but if not, it looks like you should still be fine. The hamstring injury is not believed to be serious, and the Giants are hopeful that he should play for Sunday against Dallas. Now, the issue with this when it comes to Darren Waller is this is the Sunday night game, ladies and gentlemen. So if we don't have clarity by tomorrow morning that Darren Waller is for sure playing, it's going to be very scary to go out there and plan to start him for him to be for him to be a scratch 90 minutes before the game. And then all of a sudden we have to pivot over to Dawson Knox on Monday night. We have to pivot over to Tyler Conklin on Monday night. So hopefully we get some more reports with Darren Waller today or tomorrow morning. Of course, I'll be live streaming tonight and I'll be live streaming tomorrow morning to continue to update y'all. Now, going over to Mark Andrews and the overall Baltimore Ravens. Odell Beckham Jr. is fully good to go. Odell Beckham Jr. apparently at practice, juggling a soccer ball. I have no idea what that has to do with anything, but they decided to tell us. But Andrews has been at practice every single week this week. I know he's limited. I know he's still questionable. I am planning on starting Mark Andrews. I mean, it would be a hell of a week if you have no Andrews, no Kittle, no Kelsey, and no Waller. Now, Kendre Miller did not practice, and it looks like he is not going to be playing week 1. So this means fire up Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams is an RB1. Jamal Williams, someone that has no Alvin Kamara, now no Kendre Miller, where you must go out there and start him against the Titans. Kenneth Walker has been fully removed from the injury report. Kenneth Walker will be good to go this week, ladies and gentlemen. Please start Walker as a must-start guy against the Los Angeles Rams. And Zach Charbonnet is a premium handcuff running back you want on your bench, but Zach Charbonnet is not startable this week. We're 1 like away from hitting 200 likes on that stream. You better go down there and hit that like button. Now, our next guy will be George Kittle. George Kittle's practiced every single day this week, has not been able to clear the injury report, and is still questionable. Now, like we were saying, I mean, it would be wild to see no Kelsey, no Andrews, no Waller, and no Kittle. The fact that we're having to deal with all these injuries is very concerning. But unlike Darren Waller, what is very nice about George Kittle, what is very nice about Mark Andrews, these are guys that kick off with the main slate 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. So we are going to be able to get that clarity, and we will actually be able to have that information at our disposal by the time we need to make that decision on if George Kittle is playing. So of course, feel free to go out there and claim the backup tight end right now if you need to. Go pick up someone like Dawson Knox if you really need to off the waiver wire. But I'm going to be planning on starting both George Kittle and Andrews. I think that they will be good to go. And now Burks has officially been removed from the injury report. Good to go against the New Orleans Saints. Now, of course, you are not going to go out there and start Treylon Burks. There's no reason to do such a thing. But this does mean that DeAndre Hopkins will be a little bit less appealing. And hopefully this gives hope that the Tennessee Titans will actually be able to move the ball down the field and provide touchdown upside for Derrick Henry. Now, it's just going to be an overall update on Sean McVay. We should be on the lookout today about Cooper Kupp potentially going to the IR. McVay came out here yesterday and said there's a definite possibility that on Saturday, Kupp is placed on the IR. Of course, we are hoping that does not happen. Of course, if that does happen, I will probably cry a little bit on the live stream later tonight. But regardless, do not start any Los Angeles Rams wide receivers. Like hell, if you go look at the Underdog Pick'em right now this week on Puka, he's literally at like 20 receiving yards for his median projection. You do not start backup wide receivers when the main wide receiver is out. You can give them a slight bump with their overall projection, but it's not like where in the past, Dalvin Cook's out, Alexander Madison's a must-start guy. Running back points are about opportunity. Wide receiver points in fantasy are earned, not given. So don't run out there to play Van Jefferson as a must-start guy. He is a little more appealing now, though. And sticking with that same tune, like we were saying, even if Romeo Doubs is out as well, it does not mean that you immediately go out there and start Jaden Reed. Similar to what we said with Kadarius Toney, similar to what we said with Sky Moore on Thursday night, you do not want to go out there and just play the backup wide receiver when that main target's out in that offense. Definitely roster Jaden Reed, and it'll be very nice to see what he gives you, but it doesn't mean he's immediately startable. Now, Terry McLaurin is good to go with no injury designation. And what is very interesting is what we do with Jahan Dotson now, because full transparency with McLaurin, I still don't want to start him. I mean, dealing with the turf toe, there's a chance he goes out there. There's a chance he's just a decoy. He stretches NFL defenses. Jahan Dotson sees the volume underneath, and you actually end up getting this team running the ball often with the combo of Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. But the question is, do we still start Jahan Dotson? Dotson looked like a must-start guy earlier in the week. But now if you look at his Underdog Pick'em for Sunday's game, Jahan Dotson is at more than less than 42 receiving yards. Now, of course, Underdog Pick'ems aren't 100% correct all the time, but they're a pretty good source of realistic projections going into the week. And it does make me a little bit worried to go through and continue to put Jahan Dotson in there as that must-start guy, even if we wanted to believe he was at the beginning of the week with a great matchup against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, DJ Chark has officially been ruled out. And at the same time, Adam Thielen is questionable for this game. Thielen dealing with the hamstring injury. Now, similar to what we were saying with Jaden Reed, this doesn't mean you go out there and all of a sudden jam in Jonathan Mingo into your starting lineup. It means that you can pick him up. And it'll be very nice to see if he can do something when he is given the opportunity. And we'll be able to get clarity on his overall talent profile and his expectations this year very early in the season, which is an advantage when we are looking at those guys at the bottom end of our bench. So what we can do now is if you wanted to go out there and make sure you're rostering players like Jaden Reed, like Jonathan Mingo, keeping them at the bottom of your bench, seeing if they actually do something when they get the opportunity, when they are given the chance. And if they don't do anything, then we potentially look to let them go and pick up another waiver wire option and turn the bottom end of our bench. That's how we do it. But it gives these guys the opportunity to break out. The expectation is not that Jonathan Mingo, Jaden Reed go out there and dominate without these options in their offense, but it's a possibility now. Now, going over to our next guy, we will be looking at Burrow. Good to go. Don't know why this was ever in question. Start every Cincinnati Bengal you got. But I think that should be about it. Please let me know in the live chat right now if y'all have any questions about players that we did not talk about. I will be live streaming later tonight as well to continuously give y'all all the updates you need, as well as on Sunday morning answering your fantasy football questions. And then during the games on Sunday, I would love for you to hang out with me where we're watching Red Zone on the live stream Sunday morning. But I think that's all we have, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, if you have not done so already, you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and Underdog is going freaking nuts. They have a site-wide special right now for Sunday night. Saquon Barkley, more than less than half a total yard. On top of this, if you use promo code FLOCK, you're going to get an additional Josh Allen special pick'em more than less than half a passing yard against the New York Jets on Monday night. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, you're going to get an additional mystery special pick'em on top of that. I've never seen Underdog have 3 special pick'ems any week ever outside of week 1 this week. Make sure you are taking advantage of that. You're only going to get all 3 with promo code FLOCK, plus a 100% deposit match up to $200, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And if you use promo code FLOCK, make sure you are filling out the giveaway form where we are giving away hundreds of shirts, hundreds of hats to everybody supporting the channel and signing up for Underdog with code FLOCK. Worked my butt off. We packaged all this crap up 8 hours yesterday for y'all, and we'll be shipping everything out next week. So make sure you claim that ASAP. Need to use promo code FLOCK on Underdog. But I think that's all I have for you. I really do appreciate y'all, ladies and gentlemen. I will be live again in about 2.5 hours. Hook 'em horns. And yeah, I'll see you in the live stream later today and hopefully tonight, tomorrow morning, and during the games on Sunday.